Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt. Welcome to the Sin Bin, and I kind of wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while. But first, I just wanted to apologize. I haven't been uploading videos regularly. Kind of had a lot on my plate, both emotionally and my actual physical plate. I gained a lot of weight. But I kind of wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while, and that's Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Now, first, before I get into that, for any of my new viewers who don't know much about me, I kind of like to have good, intimate discussions about hockey topics. I don't do any jump cuts, nothing like that. I pretty much do one take, boom, we talk about it, have an intimate discussion, and whatever you guys may think, you can comment it in the comment section. But today's topic is, as I said, something I hear a lot of, and that's Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And what I hear is a lot of hype coming. Now, let me make myself clear. I'm a Canadiens fan. Take a look at my shirt. I'm as a Canadiens fan as anyone else. And I think that a common mistake amongst Canadiens fans is to overhype. And I think that it's none more apparent than with Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Now, let me just elaborate a little bit more. So, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, we all know he got drafted 3rd overall, 2018 draft. A lot of us Canadiens fans are looking at him as a savior. A lot of us want him to be the center for the future, the modern-day John Beliveau, as some has called him. And I always kept my mouth shut. But I was always in the corner thinking, he's going to be good. He's going to be a great player. I don't see him being super elite superstar like the Barkovs and the Austin Matthews and that type of ilk of player. But I've always kept my mouth shut because I want to let the people have their fantasy. I want to let them be happy. If they think he's going to be that type of player, then let them be. And hey, if I'm wrong, I will be more than happy. I will not be as more happy than now to be wrong. But all of this started when I read a tweet. I was just on the Twitter and I read a tweet by A Winning Habit. And they said, Alexander Barkov is one of the most underrated players in the league, and perhaps Jesperi Kotkaniemi can reach that level one day. So there we go. Comparisons to Barkov. When he got drafted, he got compared to Andrei Kopitar. A lot of people comparing him to John Beliveau. Stan Bowman came out, compared him to John Beliveau. And that's all fine, but it's bad. And I'll tell you why it's bad. First of all, you're putting pressure on the kid's shoulders. He's not the type of person, I'll admit, he's not the type of person who seems to get fazed by too much pressure. I mean, 18 years old and playing on Montreal, possibly the biggest scale in all of the NHL, and you can survive that, you can pretty much handle pressure. But I also think it's bad to compare him to superstars like Barkov, like Matthews, like John Beliveau, because I don't think it's true. I simply don't think he has the skill set. And I'm sorry, I hate saying this, it irks me because I'm such a big Canadiens fan and I want him to be the second coming of Gretzky, I really do. But I've always been not a pessimist but more of a realist. I like to look at the facts, I like to look at the grand scheme of things, and then I make my decision. And when I look at Jesperi Kotkaniemi, I don't see him at all having the skill set of a Matthews, of a Barkov, of that superstar elite. He'll be a good player. He'll be a great number 2. But I don't see him becoming like the big elite superstar. One player I've always compared him to, and I think it's a decent comparison, is Sean Couturier. I mean, good centerman, not the best skater, but a good skater, can put up points, but can also play a great two-way game. I think that if we get a Sean Couturier out of Jesperi Kotkaniemi, that would be great. But this talk of Barkov and this talk of, Jean Beliveau, it's a little too much for me. We're all fooling ourselves. That's not going to happen, guys. Again, if you disagree with me, write it in the comments. But I want you guys to know why exactly I feel this way. I want us to go from the start, so I can explain to you why I think he's not going to be a superstar. Because you guys are probably listening to me. You're saying, what's this all based on? And I'll tell you what it's all based on. And as I said, we have to go to the start and we have to look at the rookie year. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but Jesperi Kotkaniemi's rookie year, it was kind of controversial. I mean, it really was, because the thing with Jesperi Kotkaniemi, they did not know whether they were going to, three options, keep him on the Canadians, send him down to Laval, or just send him back to Finland with Pori Asset. Now, I was very vocal on the subject, not on YouTube, but I guess in my personal life. I was very vocal. I thought that playing him with the Canadians was not a good idea. I thought that it would have been better to send him back to Finland, or better yet, with Laval, where he's playing with pros, he's playing with big skilled players, but they're like a step down from the NHL. I thought that was appropriate, because going from Finland to the NHL, you're basically skipping 2 steps. And I want to see the progression go stepwise. You need to go from Finland, from the Laval, to the NHL. I know that's not like a rule. There's plenty of players who've made the jump from Finland to the NHL and succeeded. I'm sure of it. But the odds aren't in that favor. There are many, countless examples I can give of players who have made the jump to the NHL directly, and they have not panned out. That's been a detriment to their development. And on the other hand, there are a lot of examples of players who stayed in juniors, who stayed with Finland, who went to the AHL, developed properly, and once they came to the NHL, they were extra seasoned, they looked like a men amongst boys. And I'm going to give you a few of these examples, just so you guys can ponder on. Let's compare him to another big Finnish player who was drafted pretty high, but not quite as high, and that is Mikko Rantanen. I don't know about you guys, but I am a huge Mikko Rantanen fan. And the thing with Rantanen, he got drafted. Did he go right off to the Colorado Avalanche? No. He spent some time in the AHL. He did his due diligence. And then once he came to the NHL, we all know the type of numbers he's putting up. Or perhaps you guys want a counterexample. Remember this guy? Sound familiar? Drafted 3rd overall by your Montreal Canadiens. And I remember when he was drafted and he played that first year, people were saying the same things. They were saying he's going to be the elite, the Malkin type player for the Canadiens. He's going to be the next Malkin. I remember it. And I was there in my corner saying, guys, listen, if we get a Jason Spezza out of this guy, I'll be happy. But we need to temper our expectations. I know we're an emotional fan base. That's fine. We just need to look at the realistic side of things and say, can this guy really, really become the next Barkov? I mean, maybe he can. I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm absolutely right. I kind of want you guys to see my side of the coin, and then you can formulate your other opinion. How about we look at the 2017 NHL draft? So we got Nico Hischier drafted 1st overall. Then Nolan Patrick drafted 2nd overall. Those 2 players made the jump directly to the NHL. Now the picks after them, Miro Heiskanen, Cale Makar, and Elias Pettersson, they did not make the jump directly to the NHL. If I were to tell you guys, which players would you rather have? Hischier and Patrick, or Heiskanen, Makar, and Pettersson? I mean, the 3 latter ones, they're almost completely different from Hischier and Patrick. No disrespect to those players. I think they're good, particularly Hischier. I think he's a good player. But Heiskanen, Makar, Pettersson, they're just in another league. And in my opinion, I think that staying back, playing that extra year wherever it was, whether it be the NCAA for Makar, whether it be, Finland for Pettersson, or did he play in the AHL? I need to check up on that. I think that was better for them. That allowed them to develop, gain some muscle mass. But I think for Kotkaniemi, playing him directly in the NHL, it wasn't a good idea. I mean, we saw it near the end of the year. He ran out of gas. He was getting clobbered during some of the games. And another argument I hear a lot, they say, guys, it's not unusual for a 3rd overall to play directly in the NHL. In fact, it's pretty common. There's probably more cases for it than against it, that someone's drafted 3rd overall and he makes the jump to the NHL directly without passing through juniors or the AHL. But I will counter that because if you guys remember correctly, the projections before the 2018 NHL draft, Kotkaniemi wasn't projected third. He was projected somewhere in the 10s, maybe like 9 or 8 or 7, around there. It's only till the very, very end there was rumbling saying, wow, the Canadians might do the improbable and pick Jesperi Kotkaniemi. But however which way you guys want to cut it, he was an off-the-board pick. He started off the year, he probably wasn't even in the first round when the year started. As the year moved along, he went up to 20, he went up to 15, he went up to 10. And near the very end, he was in the 7, 8, 9 range. It's only right before the draft people were saying he's going to be drafted third. My point is, sure, he was drafted third. But in my head, he's more of a 7, 8, 9 type of draft pick. The only reason he went that high is because the Canadians were starved for centers in that period. I know we look at the Canadians now and it's weird because they have so much depth at center. What with the Palings, the Suzukis, the aforementioned Kotkaniemi. But at the time, they really needed centermen. So Marc Bergevin didn't mind going off the board and not taking the best player, but taking the positional player. If I look back at that 2018 draft, the best player available would have been either Tkachuk or Zadina, in my opinion. But the Canadians needed a center, and I don't necessarily disagree with them. There's nothing wrong with drafting positionally, in my opinion. I mean, you could say the opposite, and you wouldn't necessarily be wrong, but positional drafting isn't necessarily wrong. And we saw it later on with the Phoenix Coyotes, or the Arizona Coyotes, drafting Barrett Hayton. That was even more of an off-the-board draft than it was drafting Kotkaniemi. The way Moritz Seider was this year, how there was that kind of gasp in the audience, it was sort of that to a lesser extent with Barrett Hayton. They drafted positionally. But the downside of drafting positionally is that you might take a player that's off the board. You might take a 10 and draft them third. And people see the third next to his name, see that he's drafted third, and they're going to say, oh, he can make the jump to the NHL. Well, no, because in reality, he's kind of a 7, 8, 9, 10. He needs some more seasoning. So I kind of beat it a dead horse there, but that's what I meant by the rookie year. It all starts with the rookie year. And again, the Galchenyuk situation, I think that it was very detrimental not sending him back to Sarnia. I think in a couple of years, a lot of us will be saying the same thing about Kotkaniemi. That's just me, but I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I will tell you this. This whole debate we have about making the NHL right off or sending him down to juniors, if you make the wrong pick, that will have lingering effects on the career. It's not like you can just erase what happened and, yada, yada, yada. No, it's not like that. You made the decision, that will stick and that will have detrimental effects for the whole rest of the career. So, let's talk a little bit about his projection, why don't we? Because I talked about his rookie year. Now let's see where he projects. With the skill set of Kotkaniemi, there is no way, in my opinion, he's out of the top 6. I definitely think he's a top 6 player. He's never, I don't think in any world he's going to be playing on the 3rd line. Definitely not on the 4th line. He's a top 6 player. But now, is he a first-line player or is he a second-line player? And if he's a first-line player, is he super, super elite like the Austin Matthews? Or is he kind of, a step down from that? In my opinion, if you have a really, really great team, a Stanley Cup winning team, a franchise team, you're going to have Kotkaniemi on the second line. He's going to be a great, amazing, elite second-line center, someone with defensive responsibilities. But unfortunately, I just don't see him having the skill set of someone who can make it on the first line, someone who can rack up a lot of points. If I look at him in his first year, there was so much positive to take out of that first year. I know that I may have sounded negative throughout the video. I don't want to give off the wrong impression. There is so much positive to take out of that first season. But there's one thing I did take away, and that is I don't think that in any world Jesperi Kotkaniemi will ever have 90 points. If I'm wrong, tell me why. But I don't think there's a world where he gets 90 points. For me, he's going to get a 65 to 70 points. And some players, some people will look at that, make it 65 to 75. Some people will look at that and they'll say, well, that's his first line centerman. That's enough. For me, if you want a really, really elite team to win the Stanley Cup, that's not enough. That's not enough. If you want your first line, you want him to get like 90 points, something like that. But when it comes to Kotkaniemi, I think that he's a good piece to have. He's great. He's going to be a great player. I was watching that video of him the Canadians posted. He kind of looks all built now. He's been training in the offseason, eating Finnish food, probably has a lot of protein. He looks nice and swole. He's coming ready into this season. And he's going to be a great player. I just think, in my opinion, we need to temper expectations and don't expect, like, Beliveau. Don't expect the Sasha Barkov. Don't expect, like, that type of player who can get 80-plus points. I definitely see him in the 65 to 75-point range on a good day. He's the type of player, he doesn't make much mistakes. He doesn't. He's one of my favorite players, too. So, with that being said, I think I'm going to end it here. I've been rambling for quite a bit of time. But I hope you guys, maybe you haven't enjoyed this video, because I know I have a lot of Canadians fans, and I know they'll stand by their team no matter what. I'm a Canadians fan, but if I see something I disagree with, I'm going to say it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you would like this video. Subscribe to my channel. More hockey videos to come. More Montreal Canadiens videos to come. My name is Matt, and as usual, keep your stick on the ice.